and I just felt myself being lifted up in the air. Before it even went bang, I knew exactly what had happened. And I lay there thinking, I can't believe I've gone and died. And the first thing I'd done when I left school was join the parachute regiment. So we deployed to Helmand Province, and on the 25th of January 2011, unfortunately the lead man of our sister platoon stepped on an improvised explosive device, and our job was to go into the area where the blast had been and to secure his equipment. And as we were searching, I remember turning round and I took 2 steps back the way that I just came, and I just felt myself being lifted up in the air. Before it even went bang, I knew exactly what had happened. I was lifted up, thrown onto my back, and there was just this sickening, dull thud. And I lay there thinking, I can't believe I've gone and died. But all of a sudden, reality just came rushing back in. I was hyper alert. I remember looking up and just seeing above me this beautiful, beautiful blue sky. And I think that was the moment I realised I've got a chance, because I'm not dead yet. So I sat up and I looked down, and both of my legs were completely gone. My left arm was hanging wide open, and I basically came to the conclusion I was a triple amputee, but I was going to go home that day. Now, as a soldier, that's when your training does kick in. I knew that when you have a traumatic bleed, if you panic, you die. Simple. So I tried to be as calm as I could, got on the radio, told the guys what my injuries were. Imminently after it happened, Martin Bell, who'd been the other searcher with me, he appears, and the rest of the patrol, so 5 other paratroopers, get in there, get to where I am, and they get me on the stretcher. And just as the boys were carrying me out, I looked over my right shoulder, and I seen Martin standing at the head of the stretcher, basically pulling me out of this crater, and he just disappeared. Another explosion had gone off, and I found myself completely buried, and I had to dig myself out, and I could hear a lot of my comrades had been injured. But when we shouted Martin's name, there was no response. And yeah, the boys got me out of that minefield. There was 2 of them who were able to carry me on the stretcher. One of them had significant frag injuries to all over his body, and the other one was blinded. And I was basically taken from the battlefield on a helicopter back to Birmingham, where I was basically put to sleep on the helicopter, and I woke up a couple of days later in Birmingham in hospital. For about a year after the injury, I didn't really have time to take stock of the bigger picture, because I was so focused on the little things. Every day I was achieving something. Until about a year down the line, I was back in Cumbernauld. I'd been discharged from rehab. I was away from all the guys. I was living in a wee house on my own. And I think that was the moment that I firstly realised that losing my legs was not just another test every single day for the rest of my life. I'm going to wake up and have no legs. And I thought to myself, if I meet Martin again, can I look him in the eye and say that I'd done him justice? And at that time the answer was no, because I was sat on my arse doing nothing with my life, feeling sorry for myself and drinking way too much. So I decided that I needed a purpose, and I had to find that reason to get out of bed in the morning again. And that's where sport really comes back into my life. My elite sporting journey began in 2014, where I was given the opportunity to go on the Paralympic Inspiration Programme out in Sochi. While I was in Sochi, I was given the opportunity to watch Paranordic for the first time, and as soon as I seen this sport where people were just pushing themselves to the absolute limit, I remembered thinking, I want a bit of this. The easiest way to describe Paranordic sit skiing is Mario Karts on snow. Basically, I climb up hills with my arms only for up to 15, 18 kilometres, and then into a range and shoot 5 targets, which are 10 metres away. And for every target you miss, you add an extra 100 metres onto your course. In 2016, I set on a journey to basically find people who could help me make Paranordic work. So we reached out to people in America and Canada, we found equipment, and we went out and we trained wherever we could, and we basically made Paranordic work. And 18 months after starting the sport up, I was fortunate enough to go to Pyeongchang in 2018 and become the first British sit skiers and the first Paranordic skier in 20 years to represent Great Britain at the Games. After the games, we were given the support and the recognition by UK Sport and the National Lottery funding. Without the addition of the National Lottery funding, we wouldn't have the ability to be full-time athletes. When you play the lottery, the money that you're raising when you play the game is actually the backbone of Team GB, Paralympics GB. That's what gives us the chance to go out there and follow our dreams and to perform at the very highest level and to hopefully do the country proud, and just giving us the chance to be the very best version of ourselves that we can be. Going into the Beijing cycle, I would say I've had the most consistent block of training I've ever had in my life. I think that's testament to the support we have now, and I now am just really relishing the opportunity to go out and put all those hard hours, all that hard graft and all those long days to good use, to go out there on the world stage and do us proud.